More and more often, I hear people saying that video games aren't fun anymore, that something broke, that gaming has lost its magic. And when I look at my YouTube homepage, I see lots of videos confirming this general feeling. But what's really behind this discomfort? And whose responsibility is it? In this video, I want to reflect on how our relationship with gaming has evolved. Not to assign blame to anyone, but to understand. To understand what we're missing and maybe how we can find it again. Do you remember that feeling of excitement in your stomach? That electric buzz in your fingers when you opened a new box? When you put the new disc into the optical drive? When the XA would launch without crashing? When you heard this orgasmic sound? But what happens when all of that fades away? It has happened to me, just like it has happened to many others. You grow up, and that excitement, that spark, slowly disappears. As an adult, you can afford the games you want, but you no longer have the time to play them, nor the energy. Maybe you're aware that you're no longer a child. You're no longer sheltered by innocence and ignorance about how the world works. And maybe you know that spending hours and hours playing while ignoring the outside world isn't the best thing for you or for your happiness. It is inside this whirling void of thoughts and confusion that I, like many others, find myself navigating. I grew up playing video games. Maybe because I didn't have siblings, maybe by chance, but they became my favorite pastime. And it wasn't just a pastime, it wasn't just a way to avoid feeling lonely. I loved playing, I was obsessed. At night, I would dream about the characters from my favorite games. On Saturdays and Sundays, I would wake up at 6 in the morning restless in bed because I had to wait for my parents to get up before I could start playing. Growing into early adulthood with this passion has been complicated. Over the past few years, the adrenaline, the constant energy, the desire, and even in a very broad sense, the feeling of direction that came from thinking about my current favorite game have faded away. They faded under university responsibilities or work responsibilities, under simple exhaustion, under the awareness that for my own good, I need to exercise, that I need to go out, see friends, interact with people, build relationships. But I was so used to video games occupying the top spot on the podium of my existence that I didn't want them to fall to second place, to third, or even off the podium entirely. And this led me to ask video games for things they could not give me. I invested them with excessive importance, hoping that once again they could save me, cradled in the same numbing oblivion I knew as a child. This is still an ongoing conflict, but over the years I've learned something about how we play video games, and I'm here to share it. Maybe it will help someone. Let's start with an example. A few weeks ago I was watching Frapollo. He was playing Darkest Dungeon 2. He's Italian, like me. And watching someone else play always sparks my curiosity, even if they're not Italian. So I bought it. I bought Darkest Dungeon 2. And in a day and a half, I played 10 hours. I got obsessed. I thought about it while sleeping, and as soon as I woke up. Now, actually, while sleeping, that would be pretty hard. But the point is, it felt like when I was a kid. But already the next day, for reasons I can't fully explain, that feeling of total immersion fades. While playing, I start feeling frustrated. Darkest Dungeon is intentionally designed to be punishing, sometimes almost unfair, but that wasn't the point. I feel rushed. I don't carefully calculate my moves. I don't stop to think about all the possibilities. I am not present in the moment, in the game, in the unfolding of situations on screen. In a corner of my mind, I'm thinking about something else. I'm thinking that there's work tomorrow. I'm thinking that I should probably find a girlfriend. I'm thinking that I wish these circumstances didn't exist so that I could be certain I'd be able to dedicate 80 hours of my life to Darkest Dungeon next week. And so, I'm in a rush. I'm in a rush to finish the run, because I want to finish the second act, because otherwise who knows how long it would take me to reach the end, to try other characters, to see all the possibilities this game offers, and then maybe other games would come along and would capture my attention, or other life stuff would get in my way and prevent me from having the full and comprehensive experience I desire. I'm sitting in front of the screen. The controller is in my hands. I'm technically playing, but in reality, I'm not experiencing the absolute freedom of play. The kind of freedom you see in a child running through a park. Slowly, even the game that I bought in a moment of pure, uncontrollable desire to play turned into a task. I'm no longer a child. And as I write this, that realization is terrifying. I'm not the only one who feels this way. YouTube is full of videos titled things like "gaming is not the same anymore." And often the main argument is that games just aren't as good as they used to be, that there are microtransactions, predatory marketing techniques, that the industry sold its soul for money. And there's a bit of truth in that, but mostly I think it's just a simplification of the issue. In many ways, we're living a golden age of video games, where we have Elden Ring, the closest embodiment of the game a lot of people would fantasize about when children, or where we have Steam, where every imaginable kind of game exists and you can buy indie games designed to last hundreds of hours for €15 or so. Accessibility and variety have never been greater. The reason we don't have fun anymore is that growing up is hard. And we forget how to be children again. We forget to leave adult worries at the door when we click start. We're no longer used to experiencing games as games, without loading them with extra meaning. We get lost in things external and extraneous to play itself, hype culture, the need to play everything that comes out, staying relevant, avoiding the fear of missing out. When the most authentic reason we love video games and why we look back at the past with tenderness and nostalgia is something deeply internal. Play, exploration, wonder. Something far more atavistic, primal, and in a way simple, immediate. Playing. Not playing the latest release, not completionism, not forming an opinion, not playing correctly, not optimizing a build to finish as fast as possible. Just playing, in its simplest form, which of course then takes different shapes for each of us and depending on who we are. But I believe that's the key, learning how to play again. So, how do you actually do that? And honestly, I don't have an easy or immediate answer. And actually, while the solution sounds simple, putting it into practice is incredibly difficult. Because it's a bit like telling someone with anxiety, don't worry, be carefree, life is short, enjoy the moment, be present. Sentences that sound nice but rarely have a meaningful long-term effect rather than making someone really angry. Because we're creatures of habit. Our brains are wired to follow familiar paths and to instinctively protect us from situations perceived as dangerous. One could say try mindfulness or see a therapist. Valid advice, but very general. More concretely, when intrusive thoughts prevent me from enjoying a game, what I like to do is take about 30 minutes to write down whatever is going through my head. Write, draw, doodle, scribble, whatever comes out of your hand. And it can be scary, because it requires going deeper into that dark, complicated thing we carry inside. But I like to think it's still a part of me, and if it's asking for attention, maybe it deserves it. Wouldn't it be even crueler to leave yourself alone? That was actually quite deep. So let's get a bit more practical. Don't give the game objectives. Focus on the details of what you're doing. The quest you're on, the abilities you're using, the cutscene you're watching, the death you just suffered. Good job, by the way. Remember that you're in a playground. Even if games have reward systems and progression, you're allowed to ignore them. You're allowed to mess around, to do nothing, to run across the map and look at the view, to experiment with weird builds, to toy with enemy AI. And if while focusing on the details you realize you're not having fun, don't hesitate to let go. To let go of the quest, to let go of your current playstyle, or letting go of the game itself. There is no sunk cost fallacy here that makes sense. Even if you have invested 100 hours, even if you're close to the ending, if you're no longer truly enjoying it, consider stopping. Finishing something just to say you did rarely feels worth it, also because you won't experience the final parts with genuine interest anyway. So you can set it aside. Maybe one day you'll feel like coming back, maybe not. Who cares? Follow your curiosity. Don't chase hype by default. Listen to your instinct when choosing what to play. Allow yourself to try older or more obscure games, ones that may only entertain you for a few hours but maybe genuinely grab you. Spending 15 euros on an indie game you play for 10 hours before letting go isn't a failure. It broadens your perspective on genres and mechanics and helps you better understand what you actually enjoy playing. The core of the matter is this: as we grow older, even playing video games and allowing ourselves to enjoy them requires intentional effort. It sounds counterintuitive, but by consciously deciding how we want to play, we can move closer to making the experience more enjoyable, more authentic, and more aligned with that wonderful, vital, free energy that tied us to this world when we were children in the first place. So, what do you think? Has the way you play changed over time? Leave a comment and share your story below. Thank you very much for listening, take care of yourselves, and happy gaming.